The free water cup that ended up not being free. A drive-through tale. I just went and picked up some food from a chain I worked at briefly years ago. Which reminded me of this story. I hated that job, but I still love their food. I was working the drive-through when a regular customer drove up. He was a catty and rude fellow who worked at the mall next door. So I had dealt with him enough to know that he was a jerk and to not even bother trying to give excellent customer service. Because he was just not a friendly person. He gave his order, which included a cup of water. No problem. Sure thing. We prepared his food, bagged it, and I started to pour his water. He got to the window and started fussing at me immediately because he needs a bigger water than that. That cup is tiny and useless and I have to have a bigger cup. Let's talk about our cups for a moment. I assume you all know that a fountain soda machine is extremely inexpensive to run and is highly profitable. It costs about 4 to 7 cents to fill a cup. Drinks cost money because the cup itself can cost more than the beverage itself. Our soda cups came in small, medium, and large. Then we had a free water cup, which held about 1 cup, about 230 milliliters. It's small. I won't lie. But it was free. And I get wanting to minimize food costs from a business perspective. I start explaining to him that the free water cups are this size, but he interrupts me before I can tell him that I can go ahead and give him water in one of the bigger cups, which I did on a fairly regular basis, and starts yelling at me about how stupid that is and how he will pay for a bigger cup. Malicious compliance time. But first, let's talk again about our cups. The small was big. Medium was bigger. The large was a swimming pool. Seriously, it's a giant cup. It cost about $2.50. He didn't say what size he wanted, only that he'd pay for a bigger cup. I grabbed the large cup, added the cost to his total, and stared at him while the water laboriously trickled out of the spigot into his cup. The machine had very low water pressure without the carbonation, so it took a while to fill up. It was nearly full when I made a mistake. I swear I did not mean to do this, but I accidentally got the cup too close to the spigot next to the waters, and a giant splash of dark-colored cola ended up in that very nearly full water. I looked at him, said, "Oops," poured it out, and started over. The time dragged. Oh, how he glared at me. I had to try so hard not to laugh or look smug. It was awfully difficult. He was so rude and impatient. And if he hadn't have been, I would have just given him the damn water in a bigger cup. And all that time wouldn't have been wasted. Whatever. He deserved it. Have a glorious day, Reddit! Exclamation mark. Cheers! Exclamation mark. You say he worked at store in the same mall? I would have visited and delivered to him the same customer experience that he gave to you. My dad used to tell me a story about when he was a low-life, getting into trouble type of teen. Apparently, this was before they started charging for a cup of water at some local fast food joints. So my dad would go through the drive-thru and just order a cup of water and that was it. Since it's free and he wouldn't be charged, no order would come up in their system or on a ticket. On a busy day when PPL are running around to fill orders, they would then promptly forget about this non-existent order. My dad would get to the first window and state he got the water and so didn't need to pay. This person would probably remember since the cashier put the order in. Then my dad would drive to the second window and they would have no record of him ordering a water. You know, since it was free and never popped up on their system. So they would just assume he was the next order up, which would end up being the person behind him. Dad would not know what he got since he was technically getting the food intended for the person behind him, but to him it was a free meal, so he didn't mind. And yes, both my dad and I know it's a very scumbag type of thing to do. He never claimed to be a good kid growing up. Soon after more PPL started doing this, they began charging for the cost of the cup, so THST a ticket would be generated. While I was never rude to the customer, I'm often the one asking for a large glass of water. Jack in the Box charges $0.50, which I'm happy to pay. Taco Bell, on the other hand, says no. So, one time I asked for a large water and they brought me the small. I asked if I could have a large instead, they said no. Then I said, okay, I'd like 10 glasses of water. They asked if I was serious and I said yes. I got my 10 glasses of water and left. The next day I got to the window and asked for 10 glasses of water to go with my meal. When I got to the window, they told me they'd be happy to give me the large water from now on. I think I broke a couple McDonald's employees by asking for just a large water and saying I would pay for it when they told me they couldn't just do a free water. Apparently, when there wasn't a button for it, all brain function ceased, so I asked them to add a bottle of water to the order. This reminded me of the time I worked at McDonald's. This lady wanted her coffee made a certain way and I followed her instructions just to have her come back to me and complain the coffee wasn't right. She gave it back to me to make it right, and I went behind the wall where the coffee was and took the lid off and did nothing for a few minutes. I put the lid back on and gave it back to her. She said the coffee was perfect that time. Guess PPL just like to complain. What a large cup of MC you poured for him. I live in Arizona and it's illegal to charge for water. If someone asks you, you have to give. Same for your hose out front the house. You have to allow access. That's desert living. I'm always shocked when I travel and ask for water and am told it costs. I think I'd have interpreted his request as larger cup, not more water, and happily handed him the volume of the free water in the biggest cup there was, and charged him for the privilege smile with horns. As a runner, I really appreciate the free cups of water from businesses when you might go miles on a trail which has no public facilities. Though I have a shoe wallet which I keep stocked with 1s and 5s to tip those who give the free water, or let you use the restaurant's restroom without buying food. By the way, the laws in my state either require or strongly encourage businesses to give water to those who request it, especially on hot summer days. Excellent job. Guy deserved to be taught. Or an attempt made at teaching. A lesson about being in a hole. Tears of joy. Delicious compliance. I'm thinking Arby's. Just stay in school, bud.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.